All right, guys. Offensive personnel frequency. Listen, we're gonna take this into a much wider discussion today, guys. I'm gonna talk about the possibility of what this stuff means for the potential future and trade value of a guy like Zach Ertz, right? I'm gonna try to approach this a little differently than everyone else has approached it, though, just so that way it's not the same thing being regurgitated to you guys. I want to talk about Jalen Reagor's potential return with that thumb and what that does for these type of things. All right, y'all. Without further ado, let's jump into it, man. Let's get into today's topic. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Stephen Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watching this. Once again, guys, my name is Stephen Hyder, and this is Gate City Sports Channel. All right, guys, so one thing I wanted to do, because I always forget to do these type of things when I come in and I discuss this, I assume knowledge on something, and then I realize until I really started coaching and I started playing, a little later on in my years, I didn't know what I had no clue what these personnel grouping meant either, guys. So what I want to do is just really quickly walk you through something. Anytime you hear someone talking about something like what they call the zero personnel fronts, right? So zero personnel, one personnel, two personnel, and three personnel, right? Those mean no running backs, guys. All right. So if you have one personnel, that means you have one tight end on the field, okay? Four wide receivers. So if you're going to two personnel, you got two tight ends, three receivers, right? Three personnel, you got three tight ends, two receivers, no running backs in those zero personnel fronts, okay? That's how you distinguish these things. When you get to the 10s, so when you get to like the 10 personnel, the 11 personnel, the 12 personnel, the 13 personnel, when you get to those things, guys, those vary, and they're predicated on the fact that you have one running back on the field, right? 10 personnel, one running back, four receivers. 11 personnel, one running back, one tight end, three receivers. Traditional front, basically, guys. 12 personnel, right? 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends, two wide receivers. 13, one running back, three tight ends, one receiver. You guys get it? And then when you get into the 20 personnels, when you get into those twos, basically that means, simply put, it's the two running back sets. So these are two running back sets. So 20 personnel, two running backs, three wide receivers. 21, two running backs, one tight end, two wide receivers. 22, two running backs, two tight ends, one wide receiver, right? Then you got 23 personnel, two running backs, three tight ends, no receivers. That's all this stuff means, guys, okay? So simply put, before we move on, just basic terminology, so that way when I'm talking about these things, guys, you're not sitting there going, crap, what is he? Let me Google what the heck this kid's talking about. So now you guys have a basic understanding of it. So, week 7. We all know that I've been following this storyline where I talked about, hey, due to the injuries, 11-man is going way up, 12-man utilization is going way down. We're down our two best tight ends. Although I think you can make an argument for Richard Rodgers being in the conversation of one of our two best tight ends. He's pretty much outproduced Zach in basically 2 games. So, 11-man personnel usage in week 7. 79% of snaps, guys. Almost 80% of snaps. Like, we can see what's going on here.
They come back and made it a ball game. Wentz over the middle, pass is caught.
Right? 12-man. So we're still playing. Like, we still got Rodgers. We still have Kroom. We still have Hakeem Butler. We still played 7% of snaps out of 12-man. 10-man personnel. So this is more of the spread concept stuff, guys, that I discussed in my keys kind of the victory kind of thing I did, where I said, the Eagles really need to think about spreading this defense out instead of trying to max protect and just getting the ball out fast. Generally speaking, you go into 10-man, you're probably spreading your defense. You're spreading the D out a little bit.
The 70-yard run by Miles Sanders, and him like so many before him. He's injured now as well. He's got a bad knee. Handoff here.
All right, so 13% of snaps we spent in 10-man. And then 22-man personnel, it says that we did play 1% of snaps out of 22-man personnel. Listen, guys, there are some difficulties when you discuss the Eagles, right? Because who knows if they're getting guys correctly, like Hakeem Butler, Hakeem Butler is a converted wide receiver to tight end. I would have to track and monitor it. I'm going off of faith that they're getting it right at Sharps football stats, okay? Also, Jalen Hurts, how do you classify him? Tight end, running back, how are they classifying him?
set up a screen for...
They really need to come up with a new personnel package that includes 2 quarterbacks, to be honest with you. I think that would be a smart way of looking at things. On the season, let's talk about these numbers on the season, and we'll get into this broader conversation I was going to have, guys. On the season, 11-man personnel has now gone up to 56% utilization. 56%, accounting for, in total, 266 plays. 12-man utilization, 37%, 176 plays. 21-man, 1% utilization, 5 plays. 22-man, 1% utilization, 4 plays. 13-man, 1% utilization, 5 plays. And then we've had things like 10-man, 2% utilization, 10 plays. We've had 20-man. It still technically is a 0%, but there has been 1 play run on the season out of 20-man. And then 2-man, 1%, 4 plays. Okay? On the year, if you take all 3 wide receiver sets, mind you, this stuff is tricky because you can have something that accounts for a 3 wide receiver set that can also account for a 2 tight end set. You get what I'm saying, guys? This is why I don't do them by percentages when I get to this point. 3 wide receiver sets. So this would mean 11-man, 20-man, and 2-man. 11, 20, and 2-man all count for 3 wide receiver sets. All right, 266 plays out of 11-man, 1 play out of 20-man, 4 plays out of 2-man personnel, guys. Equals 271 plays total on the season that we have had 3 receivers on the field. 2 tight end sets. 2 tight end sets would include 12-man, 22-man, and as I alluded to before I started this, 2-man again, because now you got 3 receivers, 2 tight ends, so it counts for 3 receivers and 2 tight end sets. 184 snaps total because you got 176 out of 12-man, you got 4 out of 22-man, and you got 4 out of 2-man. All right? 2 back sets. 2 back sets would be 20-man, 21-man, 22-man. All those would count, right? 20-man, 1 snap. 21-man, 5 snaps. 22-man, 4 snaps. Total snaps on the season, 10. 4 wide receiver sets, guys. So 4 wide receivers on the field, right? That would include 10-man personnel. That would include 1-man personnel. And that would also, that's it. It would include 10-man and 1-man personnel. That's it, guys. Sorry. Normally there's sets of 3s come in, so that's why it messed me up there. So 10-man, 10 snaps. 1-man, we haven't run any 1-man yet. So it equals 10 snaps total. 3 tight end sets. So 3 tight end sets would include 13-man, which we're used to seeing, 23-man, which we're not used to seeing, and 3-man, which we're not used to seeing. 13-man, 5 snaps on the season. 23-man, no snaps on the season. 3-man, no snaps on the season. Total of 5 snaps out of 3 tight end sets. This is what I talk about a little bit, guys, when I talk about creativity. And I know that the lack of personnel stops the momentum of doing some of this stuff. But if you're going to run things, like I would love to see a little more 2-man personnel played, right? The problem with running 2-man personnel is you have to take Miles Sanders someone off the field. But it would be a really interesting spread concept to hit them with inline tight ends. 2 tight ends inline with 3 receivers split out. In a spread concept, essentially, is what you're going to do. Getting the ball out of Carson's hand. I'd like to see things like that. And I know it takes Sanders off the field. I'm not asking for a lot, but I'm asking for the Eagles to be more unique in the way they do things, right? Looking at 4 wide receiver sets, running some 1-man personnel, or running, just doing some things that are different, basically, guys. And I know this is hard because anytime you do a reduction on one thing to add, anytime you add to something, you're reducing another. That's the right way of saying that, Steve. So, you're taking off a tight end. So you're taking off an Ertz. You're taking off a Goddard, right, when they're back healthy. Anytime you add a tight end or something like that, then you're taking off a receiver or you're taking off a running back. Like, I get it, but I also think we're becoming too predictable. And I do think we need to shake things up a little bit. So, talking about Zach Ertz. You guys know I'm a huge Zach Ertz supporter. I like Zach Ertz. This is not coming from somebody who doesn't think Zach Ertz can play. I think Zach Ertz actually can still play. I'm not as down on him as other people are. But I'm also realistic. And anytime you want to talk to me about trades, what I'll say is follow the money. Follow the money and you'll get the trade. You'll see the guys that are susceptible to trade. The minute that Fulgham emerged and we started evolving more towards 3 wide receiver sets, and even to an extent, now we're starting to see a development going into spread concepts. The simple truth is, once you have Rodgers out there looking like a competent backup tight end to Goddard, and you start having Fulgham emerge as a natural X, Zach Ertz is susceptible to trade, guys. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying if you follow the contract, if you follow the money, and the fact that we are cap strapped for next year, and then you follow the fact that we have guys emerging that kind of help alleviate some of the things that Zach Ertz could do for you, just follow the tea leaves, guys. I mean, Zach Ertz is susceptible here, guys. He is susceptible to a trade. I don't think there's any argument there. Like, he's going to be susceptible. We already see that the Eagles were kind of shopping him a little bit. So, I don't, obviously because he's injured, it's not going to happen this year, but I would not be shocked to hear that Zach Ertz gets moved during the offseason. All right. In terms of some other crazy things happening here, Jalen Reagor, and guys, I know Inside the Birds has reported this, so I'm not trying to re-report what they're reporting. Jalen Reagor's got the cast off his thumb. He started making catches. No bruising as of yesterday. Felt fine in his thumb. You guys already know that other people reported. What I want to talk to you guys about at the end of this video here is what could Jalen Reagor do for this offense? If you think about clearly a continuation in 3 wide receiver sets with Fulgham, with Greg Ward Jr., with Reagor, with Hightower. You know, I would assume Quez Watkins would likely be your 5th there with JJ possibly. I mean, who knows there. He would change the dynamics of the offense, guys. I think you get a guy like Reagor in there healthy. Now you do have another guy you can use jet sweeps with. You saw we did that with Jackson last game.
Back tonight. A little toss to Jackson. Gets around the edge.
You bring Reagor in, he's another guy you can do that with. He's a natural flanker that we were playing out of position in the first couple of weeks of the year. Mostly due to the fact that we just, Alshon being down, all that stuff definitely messes with you. But bringing Reagor back could be really interesting in terms of the utilization of things like spread offense concepts, like going 4 wide receiver sets, right? What about going into, you get Dallas Goedert back after the bye week? Would you see the Eagles start doing things like possibly, going into 2-man personnel, 3 receiver, 2 tight end sets, especially if you still got Sanders a little limped up? It's going to change the dynamics of the offense, guys. That's a really important one to watch down like the stretch today to see what happens the stretch of this week with Jalen Reagor. Because if he is activated on Sunday, he's not going to play too many snaps, I wouldn't think. But I would think that this offense is going to evolve a little bit. All right, y'all. This video is already getting kind of long, so I'm going to cut it off here. Tell me what you think down below. I went over the physical numbers for you. I talked about some of the possibilities that some of this shows with the possibility of trading in Ertz, the possibility of what someone like Reagor could do for this offense. All right, y'all. Leave your comments down below. Let me know if you want to talk about something like future roster construction with Rodgers, Boston Scott, those kind of things. We could also introduce concept like why is Elijah Holyfield not being elevated and playing as a contact bounce back. All those are open for debate and discussion, guys. All right, I'm out of here. We in these videos, we do a little EAGLES. All right, y'all. Let's go, Eagles.